Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The movie begins in Spain. Vicente enters a grocery store and steals bottles, hiding them in his jacket. His son Ian uses his special power to create illusions, making the clerk unaware of the theft. Vicente makes a small purchase and leaves, while Ian maintains the illusion. However, a group of girls call Ian a freak, distracting him and breaking the illusion. The clerk notices the missing bottles and grabs a hammer to chase Vicente. Ian quickly creates another illusion, pretending to have a gun, but accidentally shoots the clerk in his panic. As she falls, Ian sees flashes of her memories, and police sirens are heard. Vicente drags Ian to their truck and drives away, while the police find the woman unharmed. As Vicente speeds down the road, Ian uses his power to trick the pursuing cops into taking a different route. Vicente scolds Ian, who doesn't understand why they can't use his power to get rich. He warns that it would attract unwanted attention, but doesn't explain further. They reach the beach, and Ian creates the illusion of a hailstorm, causing the cop to think his car is damaged and flipped over. The officer realizes it's an illusion after reviewing security footage, which soon reaches the mysterious Dr. Adriana. The next morning, Vicente and Ian, who live on an abandoned ship, celebrate Ian's birthday, who had a disturbing dream about his dead mother, waking up unsettled. Vicente makes a special breakfast and shows him a picture of his mom, taken the day Ian discovered his powers. He wants to go to the arcade for a normal teenage birthday, but Vicente forbids it. Furious, Ian vents his anger on a training dummy in his room, before escaping through the window. In town, a cop tells a bartender about the strange hailstorm overheard by the perceiver, who uses his power to knock the cop down. In the evening, a special team surrounds Vicente and Ian's ship. Adriana, from the agency, reveals herself, and questions Vicente about Ian, using force to make him talk. They soon get a message with Ian's location. At the arcade, the perceiver and two agency agents search for Ian. The perceiver tricks one agent and informs Adriana of his presence, making it the new priority. As the perceiver searches for Ian, an agent fires at him, only to find it was an illusion. The perceiver fights the agent, eventually facing a whole team, but defeats them easily. Meanwhile, Ian is taken outside by Esther and another agent. Adriana, waiting in a van, shows Ian they've kidnapped Vicente, so he complies. Once inside the van, they tie him up, put a helmet on him, and take a blood sample. The perceiver arrives too late, but causes an accident to try to stop the van, which is revealed to be another illusion. The van escapes, and Ian wakes up in the agency facility. Adriana explains the agency's history, and their war against the Conscience, a group controlling powerful people. She asks him to work with her, mentioning that his blood could block the enemy's powers. She wants to test his abilities, suggesting his powers are controlled by strong emotions. Showing him a picture of his mother, and mentioning his sad childhood, he creates the illusion she wanted, a huge beach with an annoying fly buzzing around. She asks him to keep the fly in a loop, a permanent illusion, but he ends the illusion, and demands to see his father. She takes him to Vicente, who warns him that the agency will experiment on him. Adriana reveals his second power, entering others' memories. He sees a young Vicente kidnapping baby Ian from the agency amidst chaos. She had tried to stop him, but Vicente escaped. Ian is devastated to learn that Vicente isn't his real father. Adriana confirms this, but hints that his mother might still be alive. Later, she shows his blood test results to the American, who questions how he got his powers, as perceivers were thought to be sterile. She explains that he inherited his powers from his parents, making him the firstborn perceiver. The American orders her to get the formula from Ian, and eliminate him, but she refuses, believing Ian could awaken a third power, and be their defense against the mule, though the American dismisses the mule as a myth. A doctor smirks upon discovering Ian's neuron factor is 204%. Esther approaches Ian and offers to help him escape, calling him a lab rat. They make it downstairs, but are surrounded by guards. Esther skillfully defeats them with a baton and taser. They attempt to escape, but Ian insists on taking Vicente to uncover the truth. As they find a car outside, Adriana notices the escape, and raises the alarm. Agents open fire, but Ian drives away, arguing with Vicente about his lies. Meanwhile, the doctor reveals himself as the perceiver, stealing a gun and shooting everyone in the lab. He uses Ian's powers to mislead the guards during their escape. On a mountain road, Ian's erratic driving causes the car to crash. The perceiver stops by, but Ian uses his powers to create an illusion, making the perceiver believe there's nothing there. The perceiver smiles knowingly, before leaving. The trio finds a motel to hide in. The next morning, Ian and Esther spent time together on the motel roof. Returning to the room, they find Vicente passed out from drinking. Ian, seeking answers, enters his father's mind again. He sees a memory of Adriana holding a file for patient Kaminsky, and discussing a transfer to Poland. She mentions injecting a formula that night. Ian notices a masked person missing 3 fingers behind the driver, shocking him, and breaking the connection. Later, he goes to a bank, using an illusion to cash a random piece of paper as a check. He gets the money, but the clerk realizes the deception, and calls security, and they escape just in time. Back at the motel, Esther playfully throws the cash around, before showering, while Ian worries about Vicente's absence. Hearing someone park outside, Ian tells her to hide, and prepares an illusion. The perceiver enters, and sees an abandoned room, but uncovers the truth by using a mirror. Ian and the perceiver fight, with Ian's illusions shifting constantly. Despite using Esther's taser and a chair, he struggles. The perceiver pushes him against the wall, and looks into his memories, discovering his plan to go to Poland, to find the scientist behind the experiment. Ian passes out, and the perceiver leaves. Ian dreams of his mother, until Vicente wakes him, scolding him about the bank robbery and making headlines. He blames Vicente for lying, and refuses to call him dad. An argument ensues, and Vicente offers him 2 choices: continue down this painful path, or leave with Vicente. Ian decides to go to Poland without him. Adriana and the American track the stolen cash's serial numbers, and learn Ian has bought train tickets. Ian and Esther arrive in Poland, searching for the lab. Agents await them, but the perceiver kills them. The duo finds an abandoned building resembling his dream. He taps on the walls, until he finds a hollow spot, revealing a hidden room with cabinets and documents. They find a notebook titled Project Awareness, and a picture of his mother, sparking memories. Esther reads the back of the photo, revealing that the scientist behind the experiments is his grandfather, who used his own daughter for the project. Meanwhile, Vicente returns to his ship, and is visited by Adriana, who urges him to stop drinking and be a real father. While Ian discovers that Esther has brought the perceiver inside, claiming she's helping him get answers. Ian tries to use an illusionary gun, but the perceiver sees through it. Surrounded by Ian's illusions, the perceiver identifies the real Ian with Esther's help. Cornering him, the perceiver reveals he's his real father. During the Cold War, a scientist injected volunteers, including his daughter and the perceiver, with a formula that gave them mental powers. After the war, the government, fearing betrayal, decided to eliminate these spies. The Mule, the most powerful perceiver with mind control abilities, saved them, and formed the Conscience, to hide their powers. The perceivers were believed to be sterile, but Ian's birth was a miracle. Agents enter the building, and the perceiver tells Esther to take Ian to his house in Madrid, while he fights off the agents using illusions and combat skills, but is eventually captured. Esther easily defeats some agents, and escapes with Ian to the roof, where they make a daring escape. Meanwhile, the perceiver endures painful experiments in the agency's lab, until Adriana stops, realizing the formula in his body is too diluted. Ian is their only hope. In Madrid, Esther and Ian arrive at the perceiver's house, where they find Ian's mother in a catatonic state. The perceiver tells Ian that a part of her mind is still there. Ian enters her memories, where the perceiver shows him the torture she endured. Before her capture, she hid the formula in Ian's mind, represented by toys. The perceiver wants the formula to create more people with powers, but an invisible barrier, symbolizing Ian's mother's will, stops him. The barrier's destruction causes her great pain, expelling everyone from her mind. Back in reality, Ian sings a childhood song to his mother, before she dies. Overwhelmed by grief, he awakens his third power, mind control, and neutralizes the agents who storm the house. He goes after more agents, and makes them shoot each other, ignoring Esther's concerns. Terrified, the agents retreat outside to rejoin Adriana. Ian follows and forces them to kneel, ready for self-destruction. Vicente arrives, warning him that the perceiver is manipulating him, and that he'll regret causing a massacre. The perceiver tells Ian to kill Vicente, but Ian only wants revenge against the agency. Vicente challenges the perceiver's claim of fatherhood, and the perceiver shoots him. Shocked, Ian releases his control over the agents, and rushes to Vicente, while the perceiver escapes with Esther. With his last energy, Vicente asks Ian to enter his mind. The memory shows Ian's mother asking Vicente to take baby Ian, to save him. Ian apologizes, and calls Vicente dad again. They share a final moment together, before Vicente dies. Ian, seeking revenge, follows the perceiver to a party, in a neighboring building. He finds him holding Esther at gunpoint. A mental battle ensues, with Ian struggling to control the gun. The perceiver uses the crowd to attack him, who eventually taps into his third power to fight back. As he fights off the crowd, Adriana arrives and shoots an attacker. Ian begs the perceiver not to hurt Esther, but Adriana reveals there's nobody else there. The perceiver had planted a loop in his mind. Realizing he had done everything he thought Esther had, Ian feels betrayed. In a panic, he shoots Esther, but the bullet kills the perceiver instead. Esther runs to Ian, and they share a hug. Later, he arranges graves for his mother and Vicente. Adriana visits, asking him to choose a side, and give her the formula. He refuses, and leaves with Esther to start a new life. As they drive off, he notices Adriana talking to the American, who doesn't appear in the truck mirror, indicating she has a loop in her head too. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.